the line down the bottom, there's 4 tiles in this sequence. There's 7 tiles in this sequence. And then there is 10 tiles. Would everybody agree it's a linear sequence going up in trees? Does that make sense? So the next one's going to be 13. Is that okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the center. See this center spire here? Does everybody see the way it's a height 2, then it's height 3, and the next one's height 4? I reckon my one should be of height 5. Does that make sense? So I'm going to make a height of 5 here. Okay, so I'm going to go down 5 blocks. Okay, and here's my 5 blocks. Now, the last one had 3 on either side. See the way it has 3 on either side? So in that case, I think I'll do 4 on either side, because I think that's the way it's going to work. And then I should have 13 in total. Did anybody get this answer already? That's the shape we're looking at. 13. All good? 4, 7, 10, 13. Can I move on? Okay. All right. Using a table or graph, or otherwise write a formula to express n in terms of s. Okay. Now I'm going to use the Tn formula for a minute. A plus n minus 1 times d. Why am I using this formula? Why did I think to use this formula? Can anybody tell me? Why did I think to use this formula? Because it's a linear sequence. Okay? All right. Okay. Cool, guys. We all good with that? Now, so guys, I'm going to put in the form of Tn, all right? Tn is, what's the A value? What's the A value? Come on, guys, what's the A value? 4, it's the starting off value. It's your T1, it's 4. What's your D value? 3. Multiply into 3, and what do we get? Okay, and then we're going to get our 3n plus 1. Now, I don't get full marks for this, and I'll tell you why. What letters does it want me to use? It wants me to use N and S. Let's reread the question. Ooh, starts at stage 0. Isn't that awkward, isn't it? Okay, that means we're going to have to modify our formula, which is really annoying. Okay, so we'll show the problem here. If anything ever starts off at stage 0, that means we actually can't use 4 as our, we can't use 4 as our start off anymore. Do you know what we're going to use as a start off now? Yeah, so that's a mistake that I'll show you. I'll explain that now. Just give me a sec. What? Oh, you're going. T0 doesn't exist really, because you can't have the 0 terms, the first term. But everybody be happy that for the case of our formula, we're going to use T1 as 7. Is that okay? So here's what we're going to use. Okay. So what we're going to use is instead of A, it's 7. Is that okay? And we're going to change that into what? 3n plus 4. Now here's the deal. S is the stage, isn't it? So instead of Tn, what are we going to have? S. S is the... Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. Let's go back to the top again. What does it say n is? N is the number of x's. Perfect. So the number of x's is n. Okay, so capital N equals what? 3s plus 4. Let's check our formula out. What happens when we use s equals 0? What happens when we use s equals 0? What do you get? Stage 0. What happens if you put in s equals 0? What do you get? 3 times 0 plus 4? Just 4, isn't it? You cool with that? What about the next formula then? 3 times, what about s equals 1? 3 times 1 plus 4? 7. Does that match up? Starts at 4, 7. Perfect. All right, that's good. We have the formula. Everybody cool with that? All right, let me explain. That's fair enough that you're not cool with it because I understand why you're not cool with it. We'd usually use an A value of 4, wouldn't we? That makes sense. We'd usually use an A value of 4. Why didn't I use an A value of 4 in this case? Because it said stage 0 instead of stage 1. That's why I had to change to an A value of 7. Now, in the description of the question, I used the TN formula, and what I got was this formula here. But the problem with this formula is they didn't want me using TN. They wanted me to use the letter N. N is the number of x's. So I had to replace Tn with N. And the stage 0 is the first one. Stage 1 is the second one. So we actually had to replace N with S. That's why I had to do it. The description of the question asked me to do it. Okay. There are exactly 130 x's in stage K. Find the value of K. No bother. What's the formula we just got? What's the formula we just got a minute ago? N equals 3s plus 4. Is that correct? And the answer would be 130. So bring the 4 over the other side and take away from it. And what do we get? Anybody? 130 take 4? Well, 126. And what you do with the 3? Yeah, and what do we get? Stage 40. Stage 42. Now remember, it starts at 0 and it will go all the way to 42, stage 42, won't it? Yeah. Okay. Anybody get that one? Did you get it? Well done. Fair play to you again now. All right, guys, look at this. UCO is also making a sequence with each stage made up of a certain number of x's arranged in a pattern. In the UCO sequence, the relationship between n and s is given by this formula here, where n is the number of x's in stage. You have to start at stage 0. Draw one possible example. Okay, what happens when we put s equals 0? What happens to the formula? 1 plus 2 times 0? What's 1 plus 2 times 0? Huh? N equals 1. What's 2 times 0? And what's 1 plus 0? 1. We cool with that? Okay, what about the next stage? What happens when we do 2 times 1? So when s equals 1, the answer is 3. And next thing we're going to do is when s equals 2, what's the answer? It's going to be 2 times 2 plus 1, which is 5. So I have to draw a sequence. Here's what I'm thinking. There's 1. What's the next thing I have to do? I have to do 3, don't I? So here's 3 now. Everybody cool with 3? And what I'm going to do after that? 5. That's 6. It's too big. Is everybody happy with the way I did the sequence? Did anybody get that? Just like that? Yeah. Okay, so see this keyword here? Starting at stage 0? That's why I used s equals 0 first. So I subbed in s equals 0 into the formula. So that's where I got 2 times 0 plus 1, and then I got n value 1. And see the way it wants me to draw 3 stages? So that led me to believe, oh, I better do s equals 1 next, and then I better do s equals 2 after that. Does that make logical sense? Okay. Okay, let's go down. P represents the number of x's in stage y of UCO's sequence. UCO's sequence means I should use UCO's formula. Does that make sense? So what is UCO's formula again? Yeah, the person in the question. Okay, now let's look at this. P is the number of x's. So which letter do we replace with P? Which letter should I replace with P? N or S? P represents the number of x's. N. So it has to be P for that, yeah? And what do I replace S with? Stage Y, not stage 0, stage Y. So we replace S with Y. Does that make sense? We all good? Now, this is a really tough question. Okay, this is a really tough question. Let's look at the next one. Ready? Josh, I'm at the end of this question. All right. So just to bring up to speed, I used this part here. See this blue part? See that piece of information? That piece of information led me to this formula here. Do you see that? Now I'm going to work on this piece of information to lead me to another formula. See the way I'm going in order? Okay, so see this formula above, Josh? See n equals 1 plus 2s? That's the formula for UCO, all right? UCO's system. So we put 1 plus, what do we replace s with this time? What do we replace it with? Y plus 3. And this is very difficult, all right? Most students don't get this out. So look what happens here. You ready? N equals, multiply it out, what do we get? 1 plus 2y plus, what does the last thing say? Give your answer in terms of P. No hassle, look at this. What is this part here? What's 1 plus 2y the same as? It is. So the answer is P plus, there you go.